Hey guys, for this work in progress video I thought I should give you guys a little bit of a look into my process, what I'm doing. I started to work on the second leg and I thought I should maybe show you guys actually what I'm doing. So you can see here what I've just basically done so far is just cutting up the foot. This blue part was just one piece, actually a top and bottom piece. Basically what I did is just used a saw to cut that in half, and actually this blue piece up inside there was on there like that, cut that off, glued that up inside the gray piece there, cut this in half, and then cut the toe off there. And then what I'll do is just take some plot plate there. This is 0.5 millimeters, so half a millimeter thick, and then I'll just cut out the piece I need and then just glue it over that. I'll use a file here. This is just a flat file, and just go across here like this, make sure that's nice and flat, glue a piece of plot plate on there, wait for it to dry, then cut out. I'll show you that here in a bit. So that's that. The gray piece was also one piece like this. I've gone and separated it and then cut that out so it's got some room to move like that later when that's fixed. This was the piece that fits in the back of the leg. It goes like that in the back of the Zeku's leg, and that is what holds the propellant tanks. So I want to keep that piece. So keep that, and but I'm using the RG's ankle joint. So this was on there like this ball joint was on there to hold the foot on for the Zeku, but I went ahead and separated that because I do want to use this ball joint, but what I'll do is I'll just glue this ball joint to Zaku's inner frame. So I need that and need that separated. And then inside the leg, like I mentioned for that leg, these parts were able to just fit over the top of the Zaku's leg, kind of inner part of the leg. So what I'll do is just cut out this here, a bunch of stuff inside there where I don't need it. So this one I've already started to do it and I'll clean it up a bit more, but here for this one I need to clear out this space here in the center. I need to keep these back connection points because that's where it holds this part, and I need to keep these front two pegs because that's where these will be held together in the front like that there. So I need to keep those, but this stuff here in between I can get rid of. So what I'm going to do is just use my nippers, and there might be a more elegant way to do this, but there's just the really quick and efficient way. Just basically use the nippers to cut out all this stuff that I don't need. I can just cut it away like that, just kind of cut it, rip it. It's not gonna hurt anything of the part that I need. It makes, as you can see with this one, it makes the inside not very pretty, but that doesn't really matter, the outside's fine. That's what's important. So just getting rid of this, that. Get rid of this peg, not going to need that. This peg here on the top is where the ball joint went for the Zeku's knee joint, but we're not using that, so we can get rid of this. Here, when I want to get rid of a space like this, hang on a second, let's get rid of that nice and good. Okay, it's going over here in the trash. You can see as my scraps there of trash. This part here, it's kind of hard to cut it at the right angle because I do want to keep an edge around there, so I'll just cut some parts like that. I stressed it a little bit, but it'll be okay. Just cut some pieces like that and then just bend them out like that. Sorry, you probably couldn't see that too well, but it's not really rocket science. All we're doing is just tearing out stuff that we don't need. So it's pretty close, so you can see I did stress the plastic a little bit there, if you can see that, but it'll be okay. It's nothing serious. Now I'll switch to my hobby knife, and I can clean up a bit here, just get it a little bit closer. Now that's getting closer, but I'm going to go with this file. This is half rounded, and then I can just go ahead, use that on the inside because this is round here, so obviously a flat file would mess it up and make it look bad, so I need to use a rounded one. And it's not perfect. I'll work on that, getting it a bit better, but as you can see there, I've got it rounded like that. Next thing we want to do, here is the hip piece, and what I want to do is right now, I'll just go ahead and pull this apart for you. Right now, I can take out that poly cap, I don't need that, put that aside for later. It separates into a right and left piece, but what I want to do is separate into a front and back piece. So luckily we've already got a line there in the side of the part, so it's pretty easy, but then we've got this part here, it kind of gets in the way, so that we're going to have to saw around a little bit. So first thing we want to do is maybe glue this together. So let's pull this apart one more time, and just to make sure the glue sticks really well, just use the flat file again and just file that edge a little bit just to give it a little bit of grip, I guess, for the glue. Like that. This is not super professional by any means. It's just a quick and dirty way to do this. Take your cement, Tamiya thin cement, really good for stuff like this, seam lines, or anytime you want to make sure some parts stick together. It's basically just, it's really watery, basically just melts the plastic together. So where it was once two pieces, now it's going to be one piece. I guess one thing I should do first is cut out these connections in the middle that I'm not going to need. Or should we saw it first? I'll get rid of this here first. Just cut some of this out. It's just less to saw through. I can do it now or do it later, doesn't really matter, but it's less resistance. It's less plastic to saw through if I cut some of it out now, so that flew really far. Cut out these pegs, don't need those. Normally it's kind of weird and fun doing that because, you know, normally when you break a peg it's like a terrible nightmare, even though it's really not all that bad. But it's not fun breaking a peg when you need it, but when you don't need it, it's fun to tear them out. So there we go, got rid of the pegs inside that piece. And these thicker ones should be a bit more careful with because they can do more damage coming out if I don't do them too carefully. just be a little bit mindful. Maybe don't try to do the whole thing all at once. You can see like I cut about half off first and then went for the rest of it. And one more here. There we go. I don't know if you can hear that, but parts are shooting everywhere in the room. Alright, and then that's pretty much empty. So we'll put some glue on this. Let me take out the polycap too, because I don't want to accidentally saw that. I'm gonna need it. Put some glue. One side. Go ahead and put some on the other side. It dries really fast, so just put some on first just to get it so it's gonna stick together really well initially. Now I cut all the pegs out, so it's not, just make sure it's lined up really well. Leaving maybe at least one of those pegs in there might have been a good idea, but it's okay. In the top part, there's still a bit of area where the parts fit together. This front line there, I am actually going to keep there, so I want to make sure. I'm just putting some more glue in just to make sure it's extra glued. This back one though I'm going to be getting rid of, so I'm going to be filling that up with putty later. Alright, well that's drying. Here's what we're going to do with the Zaku's leg. Can just get rid of the energy cable, so we don't need that for right now. Just put that off to the side, and just can start taking some of this stuff off. These armor pieces on the side of the thigh, I'm not going to use at all, so just get rid of those. And these pieces on the front come off carefully. On the other leg I broke the peg on this, I'm trying to be a little bit more careful this time. Don't want to break anything too unnecessarily. Come out. Yeah, okay. And that's two different pieces. That piece we don't need. This piece we'll need, but we're going to have to cut that up a bit. And then on the bottom half, you can go ahead and take off the foot. This whole foot we're not going to use at all. Let's put that over there. This piece I'm not going to use. And on the back, got this one. We are going to use just a part of that on the top, so keep that there. And this we are going to use, this is what I used on here, you can see. So we are going to use that, but not right now, so just keep it there. And this piece here on the front, so I'm not going to use that. So basically here's what we're left with. Now in order to make the legs fit over the top of this, see it's close but not quite. So what we need to do is just get rid of a little bit more stuff here. Just cut that like that. Cut that just so that's kind of a straight angle there, and then this piece on the inner frame. Cut that. That's gone. Now that piece does still have a connection on the front, so it'll stay on there fine. Now you can see the back is basically flat there, and that's where it should fit over that. Alright, there's a bit more that I need to clear out there, but as you can see, now it's ready to fit. Those Zaku pieces in there are a little bit loose, So I'm just being a little careful here. But the Zeku leg parts fit over the top like so. And as you can see, it's not fitting on there perfectly. I have to do a little bit more work just cleaning it up, but as you can see, that's how it's going to work. And then we've still got the Zaku's ankle joint there. And what I'm going to do is just cut that peg and then glue that onto the bottom of there. Sorry. Glue that ball joint onto there, and then the foot can just stick right on there. Like that. So that's that. And well, something fun just happened. You know how I was saying we're gonna keep this ball joint here and then glue it to the bottom of here to use that. Well, I was just taking a look at the other foot, and as I was in the process of doing that, I managed to break the ball joint off, so the ball was stuck in there. Then I thought, okay, now I'm basically just going to have to like saw this piece in half, take that out, put a new poly cap in there, and figure something else out. But basically what I figured out, I could just use my pin vise, my drill a hole in the ball that's still in there of the ball joint. And then this peg, which is the peg that's part of the Zaku's inner frame, which normally connects to the inner frame part for the foot, can just fit inside that inside the hole that I drilled in the ball joint, like this, like that. So now that's going to be stuck in there. Later when when everything's painted and finished, oops, that's backwards. When everything's painted and finished, I can just put some glue in there, then it'll be really solid, and then it will be like that. So anyway, here's a look at what the inside of that leg looks like. So here's the Zaku's inner frame, and then what I've done is I've glued that part that holds the fuel tanks, glued that to the inner frame of the Zaku there, and then I can just go ahead and put the parts back on there when it's ready. But yeah, sometimes stuff breaks and you've got to improvise and come up with new ideas. Alright, forgive the mess of stuff, everything going on here. Just going to show you a couple other things here that I'm modifying on this foot. Here you can see I've added this little bit to the back there. It doesn't really look like much, but what I'm actually doing is I'm taking these, which are the side skirts from the ZakuEins, and I'm going to put them on to the back of the foot, like that. So that's going to be on the back of the foot. And it kind of sticks out a little bit more than I'd like. There is a little bit of articulation there. It will move up and down just a bit. But once it's like inside everything, I think like there's going to be enough going on that that little bit inside there will kind of be hidden a little bit more. Basically what I've done is just taken a polycap and just used plot plate to build a little housing around the polycap to hold it in place, and then with holes so the polycap can move in there. Where's the other foot? So here's the back of the other foot. I don't currently have them put together, but anyway, second foot. Just gonna take some glue, cement I guess, to be precise, and make sure I'm putting on the right spot. Just some glue on there. I'm just gonna line this up as best as possible. Don't know if you can hear my cat in the background meowing in the other room. Anyway, I'm really bad about not measuring. You really should measure stuff more. I kind of just eyeball it a lot, which is not really a good habit, but for something like this it's pretty simple. And if that's going to be like a millimeter off or something like that, it's really not going to be noticed a whole lot. Alright, so we'll let that stick. The second foot there is basically done. I can't remember if I showed this to you or not. I cut off the edge of the toe there and closed it back up with some more thin plot plate just to give it a little bit different shape in the toe. So we'll put those feet off to the side. Next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to work on as well. This is the part that goes on the back of the arm. I've cleaned it up a little bit more after spraying the primer on there to check for errors. There were a few parts where it was still kind of rough, so cleaned it up a bit more. Here's what the original piece looks like that hangs down from the shoulder on the XS Gundam. Basically what I did was just stick some plot plates to the side to make it a little bit wider. I'm still not sure about what to do on the inside. I don't really like the just rough look on the inside here, but it's really going to be pretty much hidden in the back of the arm. Like, it's really not all that noticeable, so I don't know. No one's really ever going to look at it or see it. But just in case, I don't know if I need to do something with that. Maybe just cut a piece of plot plate and stick it in there so it's at least just like flat. We'll see. Anyway, so got to stick some plot plate on the side of there. Here's some of the pieces for the upper arm. So here's the other arm. Basically this is what's left of the Zaku's arm. Basically I had to cut it off at the wrist, and then these parts had to file down a lot to make it thinner, to make it so that this part of the ZekuEins arm is going to fit nicely over the top of that. It still needs some work yet, but these parts here are the parts for the top of the arm, like the bicep area. And basically what I've done is add a layer of plot plate around them to beef them up a little bit, because the Zaku arms were too skinny compared to the rest of the design. It needs to be a little bit fatter, so some plot plate all around, and then some putty just to fill in kind of gap areas. So those will fit around here. Just around the arm. Like that. So obviously I still need to clean this up, but here's the other arm. You can see basically what that's going to look like. This one's in the process of being cleaned up at the moment too. But anyway, so there's still going to be that RG style part separation and a little bit of movement there. It'll be cool. Let's see, what else I got working on. This is the, oh well, first I guess I'll show you this. I'm using the stand that came with the new Zeal. And, oh, sorry, the Alpha Zero. Sorry, wrong kit. This is the stand that came with the Alpha Zero, and it's just got a peg at the top. So I just drilled a hole here in the bottom of the ZekuEins, and that can just pop into there like that. And because the legs are really heavy with a lot of the new stuff on there, when the legs attach, it just kind of droops straight down. I want it to be out a little bit, so it kind of looks like it's flying. So what I'm probably going to have to do is just build a little part in here that's going to push the legs out. Hopefully it'll be hidden enough that it's not like really obvious, but it's basically going to definitely limit the articulation quite a bit in the legs, but it's okay. I think the way this is going, it's pretty much going to be a brick kit anyway. When it's done, it's not really going to be all that able to move. What I've done with the back skirt here, just set that off to the side. With the back skirt, I'll just kind of use this ZekuEins back skirt and just kind of cut away some of the details a bit, and taken this part, which is kind of the lower part of the Alpha Zero, and cut it and kind of reshaped it so I could glue it onto the back of the ZekuEins skirt. And these, which were just like the landing gear kind of pinchers, I've taken some just propellant tanks and glued them in there like that, so it's kind of like more propellant tanks there. Just stuck a what's that, kind of thruster bell on the end of the propellant tanks there, and so this is just gonna And I think you saw this before already, but just to show it again here. It's going to stick on there like that. And on here, I basically just, this is the back skirt piece, just stuck a couple of these thrusters from, also from the Alpha Zero. A little bit loose in there now, I'm going to have to glue them later. And so yeah, it's going to be going on there like that, and then I've got the funnels and stuff I'll be sticking on there as well. It's already getting back heavy for this stand, so I'm going to have to use the secondary stand piece. And then the backpack is going to be going on there like that. Obviously it's all just coming apart right now, but you can get the idea. Still under construction, but coming along, getting closer. Basically, for the most part, most of the major construction is done. It's just a lot of the little stuff, just cleaning stuff up all over the place. A lot of fixing seam lines and just cleaning stuff up for the most part. Here's a bit more now for this part, which is the top part of the arm, which connects to the body. See it here. Basically what I had to do to this, it was just square on this corner, so I just had to cut off that corner and just put a piece of plow plate on there. So you can see the gray was the original part, the white is now a piece of plow plate, so that I just got rid of the corner on that, so when it's inside the shoulder armor it can go up more. Anyway, it has a higher rotation. Before, like, the squared edge of there hits on the inside of the shoulder armor, so had to get rid of that. On the bottom, basically this is where there was a, what do I want to say, a male end, kind of like a stick piece of plastic coming down like that for the original arm that you plug the original arm up onto. But I cut that off and then put in this polycap here so that I'm able to plug in the real grade arm. Like this here is the arm that was already almost complete. Anyway, the real grade arm has a ball joint at the top, so that's gonna just plug into there like that to make the new arm. The new, what would be, hybrid arm. So that's that piece. This piece I'm working on now. Sorry, I forgot to show you guys the first step of this, but anyway, this is the front piece, kind of like the shin of the mobile suit. Now the front piece has like the knee armor, and then like the shin, and then the like front ankle armor is all molded together in one piece. Basically I just sawed off those parts. Like here's the knee part that was on there like that, and then the front ankle part was just on there like that, but just sawed those off because basically we're going to be turning into this, and might actually be making some more changes to this. This is still a little bit square, and I think I want to have it a little bit more rounded, so might be doing a little bit more work on reshaping these. But anyway, after cutting those off, just filed it flat so that I can stick on this piece of plow plate. Pretty soon when this plow plate's dry, I can trim around the edges and then continue working from there. This piece here is the side of the leg, kind of like this one, where this piece from the Hitekkai Ginkei is just gonna plug into the leg for the flap on the side of the ankle. So just like before, I just had to use plow plate to make a housing for a polycap that's inside there. And then here's this, I've got it on a thing to be primed there. But now there's a polycap in there, and this space of course I had to cut out. So that just, oh, and on this part just used a piece of pull out plate there. Just had to cut a space into there so I can plug in this rectangle piece of pull out plate, and then that just plugs into the poly cap here. So then that's just like that, and it's got some articulation there. So I'm gonna put some primer on this. Priming it at this stage is basically just to check for any rough areas, and this part is all just like the original part basically, so it's not really any need to prime it to check for rough areas because there shouldn't be any, but I'm just gonna prime it just because it's ready. It's also kind of how I'm going, is that when a part's primed, it means that I can pretty much just set that part aside because it's pretty much ready for the most part. Unless it needs to be cleaned up or something needs to be fixed, but that one I know will be fine. So what else? This is the top of the leg. This one you can see I've already got on here because it's really, really tight, so I'm trying not to pull it off and on and off and on too much, just kind of leaving it on there. Basically, you can see I cut it and made it larger using pull out plate in the width, the width by 1 millimeter and then the depth by 2 millimeters. So made that bigger, but then of course the poly cap doesn't fit in there the way it should, so just had to kind of wedge another piece of pull out plate inside there, put this piece of pull out plate on the bottom, and I've marked where the hole needs to be drilled to make this peg there. So yeah, I'm just waiting right now. I've got these parts here sitting in this box. These are all parts that need some more putty. Obviously there's a couple of parts that are not for this kit in there, but just also need putty. So this one, just gonna put in some putty around the edge, just so it'll be nice and smooth. Guess that can go in there. It's pretty much ready. On the front, where are they? Here. This is the front skirt pieces for the RG Zaku, left and right there. And I've been trying to think of some way to alter the front skirts of the ZekuEins because the client actually wanted them to be longer. I haven't really figured out a good way to make them longer, but one interesting thing I could do is I just drilled a hole there in the top of this crotch piece, and they're too loose now, but later I can glue them. Well, yeah, you can kind of get the idea. So it'll kind of have like extra armor there on the front. The RG Zaku front skirt armor is so small, it doesn't look like a double skirt anyway. It just looks like some cool extra piece of armor there. So I think that fits. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to make the front skirts longer. Like I said, I just haven't figured out really any good way yet. So I don't want to force it. I think it's okay. The client wants them to be longer, but I don't know. I think when it's all said and done, because the knee is much bigger, which is going to be like right there. So if you make the front skirt any longer, it's going to be like smashing against the knee armor, and I think it looks better to have a larger piece of knee armor than a larger front skirt. We'll see. I think that's about it. Probably this video is probably pretty boring, but if anybody wanted some tips on some of this kind of stuff, I hope it's been helpful. I'll do another work in progress video probably when I start painting this kit, which will hopefully be pretty soon, I hope. Yeah, that's about it. Thank you guys for watching.